It was supposed to be a simple drive home. A quiet, late-night stretch of asphalt cutting through the countryside, rain drumming lightly against the windshield, and a faint red shimmer in the sky. The so-called blood moon that the news couldn't stop talking about. I wasn't the type to believe in omens, but that night, it felt like the moon was watching me. The road was almost empty, just miles of wet pavement reflecting the eerie glow above, and the rhythmic hum of the wipers struggling to keep up with the rain. I remember glancing at the dashboard clock, 12:43 a.m. I had at least another hour before I'd reach home. My phone had no signal, my GPS kept freezing, and the only sound besides the rain was the low hum of my old truck's engine. That's when I saw it, a figure standing on the shoulder of the road. At first I thought it was just a lost traveler, but as I got closer, the headlights revealed something off. The person was facing away from the road, head tilted slightly upward, like they were staring at the sky. Their clothes clung to them, soaked completely, and their arms hung unnaturally still at their sides. I slowed down instinctively, but something deep in my gut whispered, "Keep going." Still, I rolled the window down halfway and called out, "Hey, you okay out there?" No movement, not even a flinch. The rain poured harder, and a crack of thunder rolled through the dark hills. I could barely see their face under the dim light, but when the next lightning flash hit, I saw it. Their eyes were open, too wide, unblinking, and their mouth was moving ever so slightly, whispering something I couldn't hear through the rain. I hit the gas. The tires splashed through puddles as the figure vanished in my rearview mirror, but something wasn't right. The road, it didn't look the same anymore. I'd driven this stretch dozens of times before, yet the familiar signs and turns were gone. The asphalt stretched endlessly, curving and twisting in directions I didn't recognize. My GPS screen flickered, then froze on a single line of text. "Recalculating, please wait." I drove for another 20 minutes, trying to find a landmark, a sign, anything that made sense. But the only constant was the blood moon above me, hanging too low, almost touching the tops of the trees. The air inside the truck grew heavy, humid, suffocating. Then came the smell, a foul metallic stench like wet rust or old blood. I rolled the window down again, but that only made it stronger. The rain had slowed to a mist, and in that thin haze, I saw something that froze my hands on the wheel. Up ahead, in the faint glow of my headlights, the same figure stood by the roadside again. Same soaked clothes, same tilt of the head. It was impossible. I hadn't turned around, I hadn't stopped. I swerved into the opposite lane, speeding past without looking. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. When I finally dared to check the mirror again, there was nothing there. Just the empty road stretching behind me like a black ribbon swallowed by fog. I tried the radio, desperate for noise, for anything to ground me. It came alive with static, but buried in the hiss was something else. A faint whisper, a woman's voice, low and broken. "Turn around." I slammed the radio off. My breath fogged the glass as I pressed harder on the accelerator. I should have been halfway home by now, but the clock on the dash still read 12:43 a.m. It hadn't moved. My stomach turned cold. I checked my phone again. Dead black screen. The battery had been half full when I started. Then the headlights caught movement. A pale shape darted across the road ahead, and I hit the brakes so hard the tires screeched. The truck fishtailed and came to a stop sideways in the middle of the lane. The rain was coming down again, pounding against the roof like 1,000 fingers. I tried to steady my breathing, but then I saw them. 3 figures, standing just beyond the light's edge, all with heads tilted toward the sky. All completely still. One of them began to move, slowly, deliberately. The sound of wet footsteps echoed through the downpour as it stepped closer, dragging one foot behind the other. I tried to reverse, but the gear shift locked in place. I couldn't move, couldn't think. The figure stopped just in front of the hood, its face now visible. Pale skin stretched too tight, eyes like marbles reflecting the red moonlight. And its lips, they were trembling. "Turn around," it whispered again. My headlights flickered, then went out completely. Darkness swallowed the truck. For a few seconds, all I could hear was rain. Heavy, suffocating rain. And then, a single knock on the driver's window. One, then another, then another. I didn't look. I just pressed the gas pedal as hard as I could. The engine screamed and lurched forward, breaking free of whatever had locked it. The truck tore down the road at full speed. My hands were shaking uncontrollably, and every nerve in my body screamed for daylight. After what felt like forever, I saw a flicker of light ahead. A small roadside diner, the kind that never closes. Relief flooded me as I pulled into the gravel lot, engine sputtering. Inside, a lone man sat behind the counter, reading a newspaper. When he saw me, his expression dropped. "You look like you've seen a ghost," he said, voice heavy with concern. I tried to laugh, but it came out as a rasp. I think I got turned around out there." He frowned. "You came from the East Road?" "Yeah," I nodded. "Why?" He stared for a long moment before answering. "That stretch has been closed for years, washed out during a storm in 2012. They say no one ever drives that way anymore." My heart stopped. He looked out the window, eyes narrowing at the crimson glow still hanging over the hills. "Strange," he muttered. "The moon wasn't supposed to rise again tonight." I turned to look where he was staring, but outside, the road was empty. And in the puddle beneath the truck's headlights were 3 sets of muddy footprints leading up to the driver's door.